flies, man. Are you amazed at my knowledge of real estate just from being around you?
I think
my intelligence about real estate?
I think you've done a lot of research.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio with Damon Gatier of Damon Gatier and Associates Realtors. I'm Brett Sharp. I'm just like his assistant. Would you call me your assistant? What would you call me?
Let's make you a protege.
Protege. I am Damon's protege. I'm learning from Damon Gatier. Actually, I'm learning a lot from this radio show, so I actually really appreciate this. If you want to learn about real estate, if you want to list your home, if you want to get a cash offer on your home, you want to buy a home, all things real estate, call Damon Gatier. Get a hold of them at listwithdamon.com. That's listwithdamon.com. Have some listener questions. Do you mind?
Go for it.
All right. Susie says, what are my options if my offer is turned down? It's a pretty open-ended question, but I think a legitimate question.
If your offer's turned down in this market, if your offer's turned down, I would have to say that you made an offer that the seller considers to be insulting or drastically low.
Okay. That's if it's just turned down.
If it's turned down. Yeah.
So do I have an option? If my offer's turned down, can I make another offer?
You can, yes.
Oh, you can. So
yeah.
I'm not dead in the water.
Not dead in the water. So ideally, what your agent does before they write any offer in any situation is call the listing agent and ask them what is the seller looking for, because it's not always price. It can be price or terms. So what is the seller looking for? And if
you mean terms, you mean like closing costs and stuff?
No, because they don't want to pay closing costs, but it could be that they need an extended closing, and it may be that they need a really short closing. It may be that they need to rent it back for a week or 2 weeks or a month after closing,
kind of thing.
Yeah, it may be that they need to keep everything in the garage for 2 or 3 weeks after so they can get stuff moved out. So find out what the seller needs first off. I mean, that should be just basic negotiation and basically being a good human being. Like, hey, you're selling this. What is the seller looking for? If your offer's turned down, you can always go back. But if your offer is just flat, if Susie made an offer it's just flat turned down, I would have your agent call the other agent and say, okay, can we get a counter offer? If you can't get a counter offer, then you have offended the seller and you need to go back to the drawing board.
But also, and if I know you, I think I know the answer to this question, your agent should kind of inform you as to that's too low, or kind of consult you as to, I wouldn't go there. You can do it, but I wouldn't go there.
Correct. We will. We should. My agents are taught to do that. Like, we should pull comps on the house before you put an offer on it and say, your offer's in reason if your offer's not within reason.
But you're working for me. What if I go, I want 50,000, I want to offer 50,000 less?
Well, let's just use 300,000 and that's what it's worth. You can offer 50,000 less. Now you've alienated the seller. So once the seller gets mad, you got to look at two things. One, it's a business transaction for the seller. Number two, it's a personal transaction. Like, sellers have this thing called love, and love is really hard to deal with. Okay. And they like the house. That's where their child was born. That's where they painted that wall. They did this, they did that. And so they have what's called love. Okay. And love is something that once you offend it, it's really hard to get back. And so if I insult your house by saying, I'm only going to offer 250 on it, there's a lot of sellers that just will not deal with you now. They just won't. They don't have to. There's other buyers out there.
But there's a difference between offering 250 and 290. I mean,
there's a big difference between 250 and 290.
You as my agent, I expect to consult me correctly.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. You need, and look, if the house, let's be clear, if the house is worth 300, it's day one on the market, you need to offer 300.
Yeah.
And you might not get it at 300, because if it's a nice house and I want it for 300 and you want it for 300, now we're in a bidding war.
And the bidding wars are only going to drive the prices up.
Bidding wars drive the prices up. Let me go back to love for 1 second, though, because I think it's something we should talk about. I had a friend of mine that I listed her house, and it's a townhouse over in South Roanoke. And this is reaching back probably 15, 17 years. And she had a townhouse there that she worked for a construction company, and it was a 2-bedroom townhouse, and she had built 1 bedroom into a fantabulous closet. When I say fantabulous closet, every woman in the world would be envious of this closet.
Okay. Well, if it was a bedroom, that's a giant closet.
It was a big closet.
Yeah.
It was a big closet. Well, it was 2 bedrooms and about the same size bedroom. So it was kind of like 2 primary bedrooms, 2 master bedrooms, whatnot, and one of them was a closet. It was big.
Did they put an island in it and do the hall?
I can't remember if it was the island, but all 4 walls, one wall was entire shoes.
Dang.
Floor to ceiling. Okay.
Shoe racks and the whole
shoe racks, and I can't remember. I think it was wood, but I really don't remember. Got an offer on it. Lady made an offer on it, and everything was fine. And we were ratified under contract. Okay. And then the neighbor meets, the buyer meets the neighbor, which was her best friend. And she said, oh yeah, I've got a daughter. We're going to rip out the closet and make that my daughter's bedroom. My seller did not want to sell it. Like, she flat out, like, we had a problem. She flat out said, I'm not selling this house to her. And I was like, why? And she said, she's going to rip my closet out. And I'm like, you can't do that.
Well, it's no longer your closet.
Oh, it is hers. She hadn't sold it.
Yeah, I know.
And she wasn't going to sell it. And it took probably a week of realtor counseling sessions to get her to to the point that
because she loves her closet.
It's love.
Yeah.
And love is something that's very hard to deal with. And if you alienate a seller, it's their house. And so, we talk to people, even if the house is trashed, and if you're a slob, I can't call you a slob.
Yeah.
If we look at your house and, my gosh, it stinks, it's nasty, it's dirty. We can't say we're putting in a low offer because your house stinks, nasty. We have to rephrase it. We're going to have to, my client wants to do a lot of upgrades. They will have a lot of stuff they want to do to the house, and we're going to remodel it. And so, we're going to make an offer based on that. And the other agent's going to know it's busted.
Yeah.
And so we can use the correct verbiage to do it. Got love to deal with.
Yeah.
Can't insult people.
That's the real estate love language right there.
Correct.
Mike says, what if I sell my home, but I'm not able to find a new one to buy? Is that is that still an issue right now? I know it was once upon a time.
Can be.
Yeah.
It can be. It depends on how picky Mike is. And it depends on what Mike's looking for. So what I would say is, if that is a consideration, if that is something, then what you do is you sell your house subject to suitable housing. And what you would say is, there's a contingency in the contract that, Mike's going to sell his house subject to him finding a house suitable to him within X days. A week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, that he has to find a house, put it under contract that is suitable to him.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that leads into the next question, because Christina emailed in and said, closing dates and closing costs, are they negotiable?
Absolutely.
And who negotiates that? I mean, if I'm going to list my home with Damon Gatier and I've got a buyer, I can go to you and go, hey man, I don't want to pay the closing cost. I mean, I want them to pay all the closing cost, or is it generally split? How does that work?
It's negotiable. So the seller, when you put a house on the market, the seller does not say, I want to pay closing costs. The seller does not say, I want this closing date, typically. Okay. The house is on the market. It's offered for sale at X price.
Yeah.
Everything from that point forward is a negotiation. Everything is. And when you think about it, even the offer, if I'm offering full price, it's still a negotiation because we still have closing costs and inspections. I say we waive inspections, which I never recommend you do. We still have to negotiate, how I'm paying for it. I'm doing cash, check, loan, and what the closing date is. So everything is a negotiation, and everything gets refined down to a contract, and the contract gives the instructions on everybody of how this transaction is going to carry out. But closing costs, if you're the buyer and you want closing costs, you're going to ask for them. If you're the seller and you're willing to pay them, you say how much you're willing to pay. You may be willing to pay, you may not be willing to pay. Certain buyers may or may not be able to purchase based on whether you will or will not pay closing costs. So if I have to have them, because right now, let's just say I was doing a FHA loan and I need 3.5% down. I'm looking at a $400,000 house. Well, 3.5%, 4,000, you got 12, another 2, so you got $14,000. I have to have down. So I have to have $15,000 down minimum. Okay, and then I have closing costs, which are going to run about 4.5% for closing costs. So let's just say another $20,000. So I have to have $35,000 down. Well, if I don't have $35,000 down, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to have to ask the seller to pay closing costs. And then you're in this stage of, if they get an offer that doesn't need closing costs, you're out, And so it's a negotiation.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those things of, if you want the house, you want to put your best foot forward. And we did for the longest time have everybody wanting to lowball. We don't have a lot of people wanting to lowball now. We have most of the consumers we're dealing with now have realized the market's kind of settled, whatnot, and you're gonna pay what the house is worth.
Yeah.
And so we're getting more reasonable offers now than we were.
I just remember when I was trying to buy the house that we're in now, you had advised me correctly because it was a bit of a bidding war, if you remember. And part of the thing was that we're local and we told our story, or you told our story, and that we put earnest money down. And I think, we said we'll go 1,000 over their highest offer.
Yeah, we did an escalation clause.
We did
escalation clause, which those happened a lot a couple years ago. They're happening some now. Escalation clause would be if you have 2 or more people interested, or if you think somebody may be interested in the house, that you offer X dollars and then 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 more than the highest offer up to a max amount.
Yeah.
And then you waive appraisals usually, because the house, if it was worth that, we'd have priced it that, so you waive appraisals.
Well, I'm grateful for that because that got us into the house.
It got you into the house, and time heals everything for the most part. And so it got you into the house, and even if you felt like you paid, $5,000 too much then, you're well covered with the appreciation you've had since then.
Oh my gosh. And just the dream house. So just a personal thank you here on the radio for helping Tanner and I get into our dream home, because it absolutely is our dream home.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah. If you want anything real estate done, if you have questions about real estate, you want to list your home, you want to get a cash offer, you're still buying homes.
Still buying houses.
Okay. Buying homes. You want to buy a house, sell a house, whatever. Call Damon Gatier of Damon Gatier and Associates Realtors, powered by Real. I can attest yes, these guys know what they're doing. Listwithdamon.com is how you reach them. Go to listwithdamon.com.